Okay, so let's get the tutorial started. Hello, welcome in. I'm Mega Patches. I've built a save mod editor tool called the Mega Patcher, Aggelos Mega Patcher, for editing save files quickly, efficiently, easily using an interface that allows us to practice speedrunning. So I'm just going to show off kind of how it works, what it does, and what it provides, and all that stuff as a guide that we can use moving forward. So let me start off with the premise by explaining how Aggelos saves its files. So Aggelos saves its files if you have it on Steam in the normal Steam directory, Steam apps, common, Aggelos, or wherever you have it installed. It stores its save files in raw text. So if I go to the directory for Aggelos, which might be a little hard to see here on the screen, but hopefully it makes sense. I tried to zoom in, that did not work at all. It saves it as sauvegarde. I think it's French for save, my assumption, but sauvegarde 1, 2, and 3.ini. These files are just plain text files that if I open them up, show which save slot it belongs to. This always matches the name of the file. Then it gives you kind of all the different stats you've got. So you've got like gems 25, 98, 98, 08, whatever. Core, which is actually your health. Magic, which is how much magic you have. So some of them are easily readable, and some of them are not. So like Boule down here somewhere represents what potion slot you have. So the whole point of the tool is to be able to manipulate the save file. You can, on your own, come in here, and so like I will show off real quick. Let me go ahead and put this kind of down here for a second. Oops, I'm kind of all over the place, sorry. So let me go in here and show, like, here's my save file. Cool. Now you'll notice I'm not at a save point. I'll get to that in a bit. But this is the save file. Now, if I come over here to my save file and I just say magic 3 and health is actually half the amount, gems is 0, and I'm on level 15, we'll say. Like that, and I save, so go to save. Now, the game doesn't take it automatically. You have to exit to title and reload the save, because it happens on reading the file. Okay, I actually have no health now, so oops. You'll see I'm level 16, probably because level 15 with 99999 experience automatically leveled me to 16. You'll notice I have 3 magic. I've edited the save. You can also do things such as edit your location in the game. So if I set scene, let me back up. The most important things in the game are basically your equipment, where you load at, etc. Your equipment is all just kind of, or your stats are all kind of as labeled here. Your equipment starts with scroll. Scroll being which one of like the flea scroll, the mole scroll, the woodpecker scroll you have. It's actually a value 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3. 0 meaning you have no scrolls, and 3 meaning you have all 3 scrolls. You cannot get a later scroll without the earlier scroll. So if you were to get the woodpecker scroll by itself for whatever reason, you would automatically be given the other 2 scrolls because of how the save data stores that. Same with the rings. Rings actually represent your elements. So ring 0, nothing. Ring 1, you have the ring. Ring 2, you have the element associated with that ring. The boss kill, essentially. Scene is what map you start on. So you can literally start on any map, even if the game doesn't have a save point there, which is why you see that I have loaded at the beginning of the game. Scene 12 is the beginning. Each scene is laid out differently. I'll go over that later. XY coordinates are local to that scene. So what are your XY coordinates on that scene? You can put yourself in midair if you wanted to. So I could demonstrate that by setting this to 0 and by setting this to like, well, I'll just leave X as it is. Set that to 0, save, come back into the game, load. Notice how I started at the top. So you can literally place yourself anywhere. The other stuff afterwards are just pretty straightforward. Some of this stuff we're still trying to figure out like what it is, whether you've gotten the tutorial chest, whether you've gotten the tutorial for saving, etc. Light skill is related to the flea scroll and light element. They are tied together just like rings are. Save P1 through 15 are your save points. This is what armor you have equipped. And then armor 1 through 7 are whether or not you have the piece of armor in your inventory or not. The 7 is the Aggelos set. So it's a 1 if you have the non-blessed one and 2 if you have the blessed one. Same with Epis being your swords. Region, I'm still trying to figure out what those are. There are certain things like what items you have, the King's Key, the book, the Angel Feather, whether your harp is filled or not, or you got the pieces of it. Map is your quest items. Bull, we've already explained, is your potions. And the rest of these seem to be related to... there's some other stuff in between, but the rest of these are kind of related to chests and triggers, which I have not gone through all yet. So you can, as you saw, modify the save as it is and reload in the game. The tool I have developed, the Mega Patcher, actually does all of this for you, so you don't have to go find the file, and so that you don't have to keep this notepad open and remember what everything is. So, bringing you into the Mega Patcher. So, the starting screen for this shows kind of what your inventory is. In a sense, I've pieced it together to look similar to the inventory in the game, even though it doesn't look exactly like this. The first part at the top is install path. This is automatically filled in for you as reading from the registry where you have it installed at, if it's installed through Steam. I don't have support for other ways of installing it yet, but if it detects a Steam registry key for Aggelos, it will find the path and put it here for you. If for any reason you have the game installed somewhere else, you can click on installation path and drill down to wherever your game is installed. This wants you to find the game files folder, not a specific file, not the game.exe itself. So for me, I would, it's already filled in, but we'll go ahead and drill down anyway. This PC, I have my gaming on a different drive under Steam. We're gonna go under Steam apps. I'm gonna go under common. I'm gonna go under Aggelos right here. You just select the folder and hit OK. And then that will get filled in with wherever your game is installed at. That is so that it knows automatically where your save files are, so that you can just say, save it to this save file, boom, you're done. Now, this next part says loaded from. If you want to load in the save file into the UI, you can click this load file button. And I can load in Safeguard 1. That is not a valid save file because of something else that I did to it. So give me 1 second to fix that. Live demonstration here. You know what? I'll just oh, you know why? It's probably not a valid save file because like I have no hearts and there's something weird with it. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna load a backup I've got. Save one backup. So here you go. It loaded in all of the stuff it read. It read that I had an elixir, it had the key, it had the angel feather, etc. This UI then loads from that file. You can load any file that matches the format. So if you made a copy, let's say I make a copy of Safeguard 2. I'm getting used to Windows 11, please bear with me. And I say paste, and I say this is a copy .ini. I mean, the file looks the same and everything, right? So I should see 259908 gems load in, right? We're going to go to the save patcher, which you already see that loaded in. I'll change it to 0 just so you can see that. We'll come down to this is a copy, and it loads it in. You'll see that get filled back in. So that just allows you to load any save file formatted correctly into the UI. From here, you can now manipulate the values as you see fit. I don't want the earth ring. I want to test what happens if I have no scrolls, and I don't need these weapons. I want to be at max health with only, 3 magic, 500 gems, and no book. Sure, whatever. And from there, you manipulate what you want your inventory to look like, and then you're ready to go. So then after that, you have 2 choices. At the bottom, you can either select what save slot of the game you want to use to save in. So you'll see it loaded 2 by default because I copied slot file 2. It remembers which one you copied. I copied one that was for save file 2, but I can save it to slot 1, right? So I can take the UI as it is and say, save to slot. So I just saved to slot. Now I'm going to do something else real quick for just a second. Because I loaded from a save file 2, I want to make sure I load back where we're at on the screen. So I've taken all this. I can say save to slot, and you'll see at the bottom it updates with little text saying, hey, game save changes completed. So now I go back into my game, I reload it, and here I am. Look at my inventory. I don't have the book. I don't have the earth ring or the earth element. I don't have any of the other scrolls that are controlled by that scroll. If I look at my equipment, I'm missing some of the swords I unchecked. Now, let's say I want to add that all back. I don't have to reload a file. I don't have to do anything. I could just say, yeah, give me that back. Hit save to slot. That's all you got to do. Now I come back into the game, quit, reload, go to my inventory, and notice now I have the ring and the element. So the save editor is meant to make this process easier by giving you a UI for selecting checkboxes and stuff that you want. So that said, the last thing you can do is, after manipulating all this, let's say you want to save the game in a certain state of your practice speed run, because this is for speed running. So let's say, like, I want to save the state where I've gotten the bubble sword. I don't have any of the other equipment yet. So let me take all that away. I just got the bubble sword. So by this point, I don't have any of these elements. I'm probably at 50 health by this point with 3 magic. Let's say I don't have an herb. I've only got 600, or let's say I've gotten extra gems in my run, 800 gems. I'm only level 5, no experience points. I don't have any backup, or I have 1 small backup potion. I don't have my quest items. I got the key. I just grabbed the feather. I don't have the heart. My attack power is still at 100. I don't know quite how the attack power and stuff work yet, so I'm just going to manipulate these values as I see fit. And let's say that this is the state of where I'm at, right? I'm going to save to slot. I'm going to come back in the game, right? And now you'll see my inventory reflects what I would be at that stage. My equipment reflects what I would be at stage. Notice that sometimes if you had something equipped and manipulated, it still thinks you have it equipped. So like, I still have the armor on, but once I take it off, I can't go reselect it. Because that's a separate save file thing. But now from here, I can say, hey, I have 800 gems and the bubble sword. What would happen if I got the coral armor for testing a theory or something like that? How much damage would I normally take? So I can come over to my save editor tool. I can say, give me the coral armor, save to slot. Let's say it cost me 300 to get, whatever. I know it costs 800, but whatever. You do that, reload, and then you're on your way testing what would happen if you had the coral armor instead. So again, if you wanted to test it like that, sure. But let's say you wanted to save this as a set that you can come back to easily later. That is what save to file is used for. So save to file, if I click on that, we'll take the current settings and I can name my own save file. So you'll see here I loaded Castle, Earth Ring. But my splits I saved a file for so that the state of my speed run at that point was saved as a separate file. So I can save this as testing coral armor. And then later on, when I come to, I'm going to reset my UI. There's a reset UI button, bring it all back to default. Let's say I wanted to like, okay, let me load in when I'm practicing from the Earth Ring. Boom, it just ring. All I had was the mole scroll and the key. Cool. But let's say I want to practice testing the coral armor. Boom, it reloads it back to the state it was at when I selected all those things. So you can save as many save files as you want, load them up on a whim, and then save them to the actual game file as you see fit. So I can very quickly load Castle, save to slot 1, come into the game, quit, start, there I am. I can also say, granted, I didn't choose something else, but I'll go over that in a minute. Load Earth Ring, save to slot, come over here, do this, go. and now I have the Earth Ring and all the scroll. Like, so you can sit here and you can load. Now I think there's something else going on because I've the scenes and stuff. I've got to recreate these files, right? But like, for instance, save one backup. I'm a load, save it to slot 1. Come over here, do this, and you'll see this is where my backup save was, right? I could go load again and say, yeah, after I spent the moon crest, save that to slot 1. Come here, go into the game. See, the save locations are messed up because of something else I'll go over in a second. But it's like, it'll be a different set of things. So that is how to use the first part of the inventory editor. Now, there are other things, and this is where I keep saying I'll go back to it later. Now we'll get into the tool's ability to manipulate your save unlocks and your scenes. So I mentioned before, everything's stored as a separate line in that file, and it's all just manipulating the different lines. So what I can do is I can let me load in my save one backup. Here's everything where I'm at, right? If I go to saves, this is now going to mimic the teleport screen in the game. If I show you that real quick. Teleport. When you teleport, this is what it looks like, with each of these being the different locations, right? Now, what I've done here is I've mimicked which saves you have unlocked with the same UI. So I can uncheck some of the save points, say save this to slot 1. When I reload the game, if I go to teleport, notice I don't have all the save points anymore. So this just allows you to very easily and quickly manipulate which save points you want unlocked. I've given the names here and I've done it in the order. I would like to in the future make it towards like when you select this, when you see it light up over here so that you understand which one is which. But for speed running, I figured this was good enough because you're normally going to look like this for most of your practicing. But that's the save slot manipulator. So that's it. The last part to go over is probably the most complicated, but it's the scenes. So I mentioned before that scenes in the game represent areas, and all the coordinates for each scene are local to that scene. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I actually have a built-in guide. If you click on this guide button, it'll bring up an unhandled exception where I have to restart the program, and that's okay. So give me one moment. Let me bring that back on over here. I go to scenes and say guide. There it is. So this guide, just kind of give you kind of a quick whatever into the window. It's a map developed by Master Sword, somebody on the Steam guides, archives, and I modified it for the practice tool for myself. I have laid out and highlighted what each of the scenes are, color coordinated, color coded, and labeled. So scene 12 is this green area here, and that's the beginning of the game. Scene 13 is this area right here. It's the Lumen Woods area. This scene 14 is Bosco. So some of them are labeled, some of them I didn't finish labeling, but this was just to be a starting point, right? So like Celestia, scene 30, highlighted in yellow. So if you, the idea is that if you want to appear in any one of these screens, you have to choose scene 30 and a certain XY coordinate combination. This will allow you to place yourself in whatever screen you want. And you might say, how do you know what the XY coordinates are? It's a lot of trial and error. I've gotten some starting points for you in the scene, in the editor. So that's what these are here. They are starting points. Beginning, Lumen Woods, Bosco, Castle Basement, Bosco Cave, Earth Temple. I have set up one coordinate system for every scene. So if I say beginning, this will in the background set the scene to 12 and the XY coordinates to the save point that is in that scene. Every scene has a save point with the exception of the beginning of the game, the Portals of Darkness, or any of the temples. Every place has at least one save point associated. So I just set that as your default. So for instance, if I choose Lumen Woods, you'll see that the XY automatically go to the save point at Lumen Woods. If I hit save to slot right now, quit out the game, come here, I start at the woods. Now if I come back over to my tool and I say Castle Basement and say save the slot and I just quit game, I don't have to do anything else. It's already manipulated the scene for me to start in the castle. I have already put some for temple. You can't normally start in the temple, but if I save temple and say save to slot and come over here, now I can practice running the Earth Temple very, very quickly with whatever tool set I want. So again, you can see the power now of combining different settings in the UI. I can come to the inventory and say, okay, I have a safety potion. I have the key. I've got the ring already. What would happen if I went out of my way to get the bubble sword instead? Oh, and I got my mole scroll. So I hit save to slot. Oh, I probably don't want to be level 1. I'm probably level 3 by this point, sure. And I probably have an extra heart, so we'll say 40. It's in increments of 10. Each heart equals 10. And I'll say save to slot. And I can come over here. Now I can see what it would be like if I had the bubble sword. Oops. And all the stuff I would normally have at this point in the speed run. So this is for theory crafting. This is for assisting you as a speedrunner or anyone who wants to test certain things in the game for us. This is what this tool is meant for. Once you've done all of the scene manipulation you want to, I've added the ability to say, hey, I want to start at Earth Temple, but I want to see what happens if I put my X coordinate at 1,000. Now, changing this value up here does not update this down here. This is just for you to separately manipulate the XY coordinates, save to slot, and go. So that I can, oh, that's where 1,000 is. Okay, cool. But if I like select off, select back, you'll notice this goes back to 50. If you would like to save your own locations or boss practice or anything like that, you can say copy scene, and it will copy the currently selected coordinates and give you a prompt for a name. Or you could just say add scene and select from a hard-coded list of scenes 12 through 35, 34, something like that. Just one value for every scene is held in the back end. But again, so you don't have to memorize what number is what scene. I do have a guide button on here, but I also allow you to just pick by name. So I can say I need to start somewhere at the wall. I know I'm going to start somewhere at 600 and 600, sure. And I'm going to name this testing where I am. And I can say add. Now at the very bottom, testing where I am will have the preview picture for what scene it represents. So each scene number I've given a preview picture for in the background. So the wall is scene 18, and we'll automatically use the wall's preview picture. And I can just now select that, say save to slot, quit game, come back in and see where the hell it puts me. Oh, that's where it puts me. Cool. Close enough. If I wanted to make Y, I think 300, save to slot, I think it puts me above this, right? Yeah, and then I fall in. If you would like to, you can add as many scenes as you want. You can remove a scene, and it's gone from the list. Anytime you save it, or you add it or copy a scene, it will auto-save the scenes list for you. However, when you delete, it will not, just in case you need to recover it. So right now, if I exit this out and reload it, bring it back in for you guys, and go back to scenes, you'll see that testing where I am is back because I didn't save. If you delete the scene, make sure you click the Save All Scenes button, and it will now save. If you ever need to reload for any reason, you outside in the text editor manipulated your save file, you can hit reload and it'll reload them. These are loaded from a file called scenes.txt. It is expected that scenes.txt is in the same location as the program. So I have the program exe here. You'll notice there's a scenes.txt, which is literally a comma separated list of the name, the scene it has to deal with, the X coordinate, and the Y coordinate. And if you wanted to create your own, you could very well come here and say, whoops, this is a tutorial. And I want to start at scene, let's say 16. I think that's somewhere deep Bosco area. And I'll just leave the coordinates like that, sure. And I'll hit save, right? So I edited that. Now, if I come here and say reload from file, you'll now see there it is with that X, Y, and coordinate. So you guys if you find any really cool coordinate locations, you can either open your scenes file and just share this information, or you can share the entire scenes.txt file and someone can come in here and say load it. There it is. I eventually want to have a choose where you load it from, kind of like we do with the save files, so that someone can share it and you don't have to get rid of yours. But if for any reason you have deleted your scenes.txt, I'm going to rename it so it can't find it, and I come to reload, could not load scenes, loading defaults appears here at the bottom. And you'll see I have preset one for every location so that you won't lose starting points at least. And that's all there is to the tool. So again, combined as a quick summary, you find your install path for the game. It does not come with the game itself. You load any presets you have saved yourself or from the game's files itself that will update your UI. You then manipulate the UI as you need to. Let me just add some things here. Let me give myself a few save points. Let me make sure I start at castle. You can save it to whatever slot you want. So I'm going to save it to 1 here. You come back into the game, you reload the game, and now your UI reflects everything that you put in the save editor. Again, I can manipulate the XY coordinates without, like, once you choose this, just manipulate this and it'll start you in that scene. I will eventually also add a scene thing here so you can see what the number is it's using in the background and change that as well. Changing them here doesn't do anything except change it in the save file. These are where you actually change these. Now, if I want to edit, last thing, if I want to edit, let's say I got my scenes.txt, reload, I came up with a cool thing and I want to edit this. Unfortunately, I don't have an edit button right now. You can copy it, change the location, hit add under the same name, it doesn't matter, and then just delete your old one. And there you go. Now it's edited. So this has, and I have an about box for any version information with my information in there. So this has been the tutorial for the Aggelos Mega Patcher, made by yours truly, Mega Patches. I hope it helps us with theory crafting, speedrunning in general, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.